Namaste and warm greetings from Pondicherry in South India. I am Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani, the chairperson of ICYR at Ananda Ashram, the yoga institution that was founded by my beloved father, Yoga Maharishi Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj, and my beloved Ammaji, my mother, Kalaimamani, Yogacharini, Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani. I am indeed so pleased to be with all of you. Thanks to the love of my most inspiring yoga brother, Larry Payne. A warm hug to you, Larry. A virtual hug in these days of COVID-19 with all our social and physical distancing, who has given me this wonderful opportunity, a golden opportunity to be with you and share some thoughts on yoga and aging as part of the Yoga After 50 Prime of Life Yoga course level 2. When we think about aging, we all get a bit uptight. The reason is that when we are young kids, we sort of don't think about too much and we just get up in the morning, do what we want, the way we want, when we want, how we want. And we seem to be able to get back to home and relax and it's all fine. But then as we come into the middle part of life, even I have seen this big change that happens and suddenly you realize, I need to take better care of myself. And this is where the responsibility of taking care of oneself starts to come in very deeply. And this responsibility is part of what is known as Swadharma, our responsibility to ourselves. Because we as an individual, we need to be responsible for our own health and our own happiness. The moment we let others be responsible for our health and happiness, we are always going to have some issues. So it is important for us to take our health, our happiness in our own hands. We need to look at the concept of health. When we talk about health, the World Health Organization, it talks about a state of well-being. A state of well-being that is at the physical, the mental, the social, and sometimes they include the spiritual level also. When we talk about health from the yogic perspective, it is that state where you are being the best you that you can be in that moment. You are in a state of sukham, which is to be at ease with yourself. Health is a state of being at ease with ourselves. The moment we are not at ease with ourselves, that is when we move away from ease, and ease becomes dis-ease. The yogic approach is that, can we find that state of well-being, a dynamic state of well-being that is constantly changing moment to moment. And that is why every moment there's a dynamic shift. This shift is understood in physiology as homeostasis. Homeostasis is the ability of the body to dynamically change from moment to moment, bringing us towards what is the golden mean, our state of equilibrium and equanimity. It is often said 99 times down, 100 times up. Well, it should be more logically 100 times down, 100 times up. But the idea is there's nothing wrong in falling down. There's nothing wrong in falling away from health. But what we need to do is regain it, maintain it, sustain it. And that is where yoga comes in. Because yoga is the best do-it-yourself kit. You do it for yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. And that is the height of taking responsibility for the self, where we do what is best for us to maintain, sustain, regain, or attain physical health, mental health, emotional health, social health, and spiritual health. In yoga, we talk about the Pancha Kosha, the 5 layers, where we have the anatomical, structural existence. That is the body that we can see, our 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the 10 fingers, the toes. But then we also have a physiological, functional existence. And that is where the prana, the life energy, flows through us. And it embodies that living spirit through us. Prana Shakti, that life force, that energy. And this is where a heart that is an anatomical structure starts to beat and it becomes a physiological level of existence. So we have a structural, anatomical, we have a physiological, functional existence, and then we have a psychological, mental existence where thoughts can come through, where we can be conscious of what's happening around us. But this is not enough. We need to grow into our humanity. And that is where the next layer comes in, the layer of the intellect, the power of discernment and detachment or non-attachment. In modern terms, we call it metacognition. When you can observe yourself without identifying, without condemning, and without justifying. That is metacognition. In yoga, it is called vairagya. And viveka is discernment, to know what is and what is not, what to do, what not to do. And then you are not caught like Hamlet, to be or not to be, because you know, we as human beings must be. That is why we are being, human being, not a human doing. We need to work on being human. That is where yoga comes in. And then the final, 5th layer of existence, which is called the Ananda Maya, the blissful existence, when we are in harmony with the world in which we live, where there is that conducive, symbiotic relationship between us and everyone in our environment. This is where we are working. We are working with the physiology, we are working with the anatomy, we are working with the psychology, and we are working with sociology and, of course, spirituality. All levels of existence are being worked when we work through yoga. So yoga has different practices, and the Ashtanga yoga of Patanjali, the classical pattern of yoga, says we have the Yama Niyama, which are the beautiful codifications on how to restrain the subhuman tendencies and enhance the humane capacities. We then go through asana, which is the ability to focus on the body and develop a beautiful sense of steadiness and ease. Then we work on the breath, because through the breath, we can work with the energy of the cosmos. That is pranayama. We then start to understand that the senses keep on engaging us, and we want to move away from being a prisoner of the senses to being a master of the senses. It is the stage called pratyahara. And then the 3 last aspects of Ashtanga Yoga of Maharishi Patanjali, the classical yoga pattern in our tradition, are the samyama, which are the 3 practices that work inwards. And they are introspective practices where you start to focus. You learn how to focus the all-pointed mind into a one-pointed laser beam-like focus. You start to understand how that flow can occur in that focus, leading us into a contemplative state and even a meditative state, and how when and retained long enough, we can go into what is known as samadhi, or the state of absorption. A beautiful blueprint has been given by the ancient yogis. When we want to bring it into our life, we realize that we go through different phases of life. And as the body ages, the heart may not age, the mind may not age, the enthusiasm may not age. And the secret is to be always young at heart. My father, Swami Geetananda Giri, even at the age of 87, when he left the body, he was teaching classes left, right, and center. He was writing books, he was going on tours, he was lecturing at conferences. And I have seen the dynamic energy that yoga has given him at that age. My own yoga uncle, B.K. Saingal, I have seen how they have aged with grace. And that is why Ammaji, who's now close to 80, she always tells us it is about aging gracefully and having the best of our faculties working so that optimal health is manifesting right up to the last moment that we are on this planet. When my father was in his 70s, he had an accident. He fell down in the swimming pool in our ashram and broke his lower vertebrae. And I remember as a kid when he was taken into the hospital, the doctors telling us, well, most probably your father may not walk again. He will survive, but may not walk again. And a couple of years later, thanks to the efforts of modern medicine, supplemented later by the yogic therapeutic methods, he not only walked, but he went with us and guided us on an amazing tour in the high Himalayas. And I remember he used to be the first up the mountain while we young people were still at the bottom. That is the power of yoga. And in my life, I've seen how that power of yoga can enable us to grow better and better so that we age like wine, becoming better and better. And we don't decay, but we actually rehabilitate, rejuvenate. A concept called Kaya Kalpa in yoga, where we learn how to regenerate ourselves and maintain that youthfulness. The secret is not just a secret hidden away. It is a secret that is part of all the yoga practices. When we do the body postures with awareness, with mindfulness, when we do the breath work and the energy flows, and when we do the mindful work, the mindfulness, contemplative, meditative practices, we are enhancing our inherent potentials so that we can become the best we as we grow older and hopefully grow wiser and better. Today, I wanted to share with you a few practices from our tradition, the Gita-Ananda tradition. And one of the first practices we always teach is the loosening practices because we are always tightened up. We tight up, and finally, what happens when people die? They go into rigor mortis. They totally get tightened. We don't want to do that when we are alive. We want to be light. We want to be loose. We want to loosen up. So what we do is we start shaking our hands. So you just take your hand and start shaking it nicely. And as you shake it, be mindful of how the energies are moving through that part of your body. We then shake the opposite hand, making sure we have two hands and that we know which is right and left and how to shake them. And then we shake both of them. This type of shaking is waking. This type of shaking is getting the energy to move. This is the shaking where we start to let the energies move in a very harmonious manner. Now let the shoulder come into it. Moving your head, your shoulder. Feels good. Shaking up, shaking down, to your right, to your left. And just giving a nice shake as you shake around, giving a beautiful shake. And then shaking as fast as possible. You don't have to worry, your fingers will not fall off. Shake as much, as fast as possible. Now we catch hold of all the tensions we can think of, all the stresses. Take in a deep breath. And then whoosh it off. When we do this, what we are doing is we are loosening up all the tensions that are there, all the negativities, all the toxins. And we are consciously catching it. And we are saying, I don't want this junk. And we throw it out. Because the more junk we put into ourselves, be it physical, mental, emotional, what is happening is we are becoming a junkyard. We don't want to be a junkyard. We are human beings. So we need to throw the junk out. And that is why these type of practices, where you are shaking, you then breathe in through the nose, and then you are consciously saying, I don't want it. And you are dissipating it. Okay? So now let's do it again. Okay? Your right side, giving a good shake. Give a nice shake. Beautiful. Now the left side, giving a nice shake, a beautiful shake there. Now the both. Giving a nice shake. Up, down, to your right, to your left. Now as fast as possible. Fast. Catch hold of all the tensions and throw them out. Just sitting quietly with your eyes closed. Let's perform some simple, soft, deep breathing. Breathing in for a count of 6 and breathing out for a count of 6. A practice known as Sukha Pranayama, a very comfortable breathing pattern that gives a sense of Sukham, which means ease, enabling us to be at ease with ourselves. Breathing out, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once more. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just enjoy a beautiful sense of ease. That is the Sukham, a state of ease from within. A sense of being established in your own self, a very comfortable state. You are at ease with yourself. Excellent. Now, one of the practices which we use a lot, especially as we grow older and we want to retain our capacities, is a practice called the Brahma Mudra, which is a practice for the neck. And you can say that it is a practice where we are doing a 4-pointed head turning practice. And what we do is that we turn the head to the right and back. We turn the head to the left and back. We turn the head up and back. And we turn the head down and back. So there are 4 different directions that are brought into it. And this is why the creative principle of the universe is known as Brahma in the Indian tradition. And hence they give the name Brahma Mudra. You are gesturing the universal creativity through this practice. But let us look at it from multiple angles. One of the issues is that we get very locked in our perspective. And this is one of the issues that makes us very rigid. And rigidity is an issue that many people deal with as they grow older. We don't want rigidity, we want fluidity. We don't want to be locked in our perspective. We want to expand our perspective. Because the more we are locked in a single perspective, the more chances of stress manifesting. Because stress is happening because of perspective. The whole stress response, which involves your hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis and the hypothalamo-autonomic nervous system, sympatho-adrenal axis also. All of it starts with the perception of stress. The moment we perceive something as being a stressor, bang, stress response kicks in. So the key is once the response kicks in, it is very difficult to deal with it because it is like the dam has burst and you're trying to repair a burst dam, a broken dam. What we want to do is prevent the dam from bursting in the first place. So here the key is in prevention. If we can modify our perception of the stress, that is the message that we are bringing here. Can we modify the perception of stress? And what this practice does, the Brahma Mudra, is it tries to expand our perspective. And the more our perspective is enhanced and expanded, the less stressed we get. Because now we are not looking at things from one angle or only one angle, but from multiple angles. And the moment you start to have a multi-dimensional perspective, things make much better sense. And hence the stress response doesn't occur. If not, if we are locked in a certain perspective, we are going to get offended more easily. We are going to get stressed more easily. And that is going to make us something less than our best. So this practice is about expanding the perspective. So when we turn to the right, we are starting to understand there's a whole perspective out here that I had missed till now. When I turn to the left, I realize there's a whole perspective out there that I have missed till now. When I turn up, I realize there's a whole perspective that I had missed till now. And when I turn down, oh my God, there's such a perspective I missed till now. We are enhancing and expanding our perspective to include multiple directions, multiple perspectives at the same time. It is an amazing expansion that happens. Now, along with this, what are we doing? We are doing a breath. So as we breathe in, we move to the right. As we breathe out, we bring the head back to the center. As we breathe in, we move to the left. As we breathe out, we come back to the center. As we breathe in, we look up. As we breathe out, we come back to the center. And as we breathe in, we come down. And as we breathe out, we come back to the center. So each time with the inhalation, we have moved away from the center, but on the exhalation have come back to the center. What we are doing is moving away from our perspective, but always coming back to our perspective. So we are coming back to our perspective, and our perspective now includes these 4 other perspectives. Imagine the changes that are happening in consciousness that then percolate right down into each and every cell of the body. Amazing changes that happen. On top of that, what we do is that we add some sound to it, because sound is refreshing, sound is relaxing. And when we use sound, we can extend our exhalation better. And I will come back to that maybe a little later, because the exhalation, when you extend it, you are helping your heart to be healthier. The longer your exhalation, the healthier the heart. Because when you are breathing in, your heart goes faster, pumps faster. When you are breathing out, the heart goes slower, it pumps slower. It has more relaxation. And it is when the heart is relaxing that it is actually supplying itself. Your coronary arteries, they are perfused, are supplied when the heart is in relaxation phase. So when you extend the exhalation, you are slowing down the heart rate and you are enabling a greater relaxation for the heart, diastole phase, and at that time, the coronary perfusion is better. So you have a healthier heart. So the moment you bring sound into it, you can extend the exhale. For example, if I were to say, let's breathe in and breathe out, we can do that. But if I say we are going to breathe out for twice the time, you'll say, okay, let's try it. And then breathing out. It starts to become a bit more difficult, a bit more tricky. But if I were to say, let's make a sound of ah when we are breathing out. Suddenly the exhalation is much easier to prolong with the sound. And that is the secret of using the sounds. Because these sounds enable the exhalation phase to automatically become elongated, and they slow down the heart. They bring a better sense of what we call sinus arrhythmia. This is the relationship between your breathing pattern and your heart rate. And this is reflecting the cardiac autonomic status, the sympathetic and the vagal tone. So you want the vagal tone to be working well. That is a very important aspect in dealing with stress. Because stress otherwise is always sympathetic and the vagus is being pushed down to the ground. You want to pull the sympathetic down, enhance the vagal tone so that you have a better sympatho-vagal balance. A healthy sense of sympatho-vagal balance is brought about when you can do this type of practice. Okay, so let's start doing this and then I'll talk about it a bit more, how it enhances sensory motor conduction also. Okay, so be with me. Take up a position where your spine can be erect and well aligned spine, the lower, middle, and upper back, the neck all aligned. Breathing out. As we breathe in, turning to the right. Breathing out, coming back to the center with the sound. Now we are going to go to the left. Breathing in. Now lifting the head up. Now the head down. Four directions, four sounds. A, U, E, A, U, E, A, U, E. All are vowels. Vowels activation. Is a sound of satiety. And inducing a beautiful sense of satiety at the end. Activate and then satiety. Okay? Let's do another 2 rounds of this. 3 is the lucky number when doing any practice. Breathing in to the right. Breathing into the left. Breathing in, lifting the head up. Breathing in, bringing the head down. Third round to the right. Breathing in. Breathing in to the left. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing in, bringing the chin down. Sitting quietly for a few moments, contemplating a beautiful sense of ease that runs through your whole body. This practice, the four directional head turning practice, the Brahma Mudra, enables a beautiful sense of body movement, breathing, and sound to come together. We are making a movement of the body. That movement is synchronized with the breathing pattern. And then we add the vibrational effect of the sound. When we do this, we are creating a beautiful sense of psychosomatic harmony. The mind and body start to work together through the medium of the breath. The breath is the facilitator, the integrator of the body and the mind. And when we use sound, the vibration of the sound enables this healing, this coming together, the union to happen in a beautiful, harmonious, healthy manner. When we are doing this practice, often we use it when people have neck issues. And people tend to think, oh, this practice is a practice only for people who have a neck pain, who have a kink in the neck, who have cervical issues. And what I like to remind people is the neck is not separate than you. The neck is part and parcel of you. And we as a vertebrate, we have a spine, okay, we should have one. We have a spine which is made up of those 33 vertebrae, and they're all connected, interconnected with each other. Which is why if you have a problem with your neck, soon that problem will seep into your lower back. And if you have a problem in the lower back, soon that problem will seep into the neck. So it is essential that the whole of the spine is kept as healthy as possible. Because if the spine is not healthy, the nerves flowing through the spine, they are not going to be working at the optimal level of functioning. Now, you know, all the sensory inputs from the body, all the sensory inputs from your fingers, your toes, every part of your body, they come to the brain and the respective parts of your brain through the neck. The neck is the bridge through which all the sensory information comes from the body into the brain to be processed. So sensory processing, or the processing of sensory information in the brain, is dependent on a healthy neck so that the flow can be healthy. If there's a problem in the neck region, the flow of the sensory information is going to be distorted. So your brain is going to perceive the sensory information in a faulty manner. Similarly, all the motor commands from the brain, they come down to the whole body through the neck. So if there's a problem in the neck and the energies are not flowing as they should, the motor commands are going to be distorted, and so the brain is saying something and the body is getting a distorted message. So keeping the neck healthy is of primary importance, and if the neck is not healthy, the sensory processing and the motor commands are not going to be given as they should. A distortion of sensory motor functioning is actually what is happening in most people today. The senses are not being understood by the brain properly. So we are reacting rather than responding. We as a human being are meant to be a responder, not a reactor. We are not meant to be a reactive species at all. We are supposed to be a humane species. We are supposed to be a responsive species. And that is why the ability to respond is in this region. In yoga, it is called the Ajna Chakra, the brow center, where the power of discernment and metacognition lies, Viveka and Vairagya. So when we are enhancing the health of the neck region by this practice, not only are we expanding our perspective, we are also making sure that the sensory information is being received by the brain, the control center, in the proper way, and that the motor commands from the control center are reaching the peripheral region, the agents who have to bring about those commands properly. So the sensory motor information processing is being enhanced by this practice. And when we are making these sounds, R, O, E, they are sounds which are vowels. And the vowels are activating and they work on the back of the throat. The vowel sounds R, O, E, they are enhancing the musculature in the back of the throat, and in fact may have a positive effect on people who have sleep apnea. One of the major issues as we grow a bit older is that we are not able to sleep without interruption, and sleep apnea starts to manifest. So the Brahma Mudra with the R, U, E, the three vowel sounds being used, may also have an effect in mitigating sleep apnea. And the Makara sound, it is a sound of satiety, a sound of contentment. And when we have a sense of contentment, we are a much better human being than when we are discontent. Discontentment is where the stress is. Contentment is where the relaxation is. And that is why the Brahma Mudra is a multi-dimensional practice. Many people do it as an exercise, so they just turn and hold and all. It doesn't have the same effect. When you do the movement with the breath, any movement done in synchronization with the breath becomes a psychosomatic harmonizer. That is the key. It doesn't matter. You're lifting your hand, just lifting and lowering, it's an exercise. With the breath, it has become a psychosomatic harmonizer, because the breath is the facilitator between the mind and the body. For most people, the mind and body are like two people who hate each other to death, and they have to live in the same one-room flat for the whole lifetime. That's the type of stress going on there. And you want that mind and body to work together. You want the mind to understand the body. You want the body to understand the mind. And that is the type of connection that you are bringing about. Another type of connection that the Brahma Mudra does is the head and the heart. Often people are caught. Should I listen to my head or should I listen to my heart? And so it becomes head or heart. I like to tell people the yogic perspective is the head and the heart. Not the head all, but the head and the heart. And that is why I use a phrase, a mindful heart and a heartful mind. That is what yoga is looking at, bringing both of these aspects together. The right and the left brain, similarly, when we do practices like the alternate nostril breathing, when you breathe in the left, you're working on the right brain. When you breathe in the right, the left brain. And what we are doing is we are creating a beautiful sense of coordination, harmony between the right and the left. The left brain, which is always this logical part, calculation part, which is the stress part. And the right brain, which is the let go, relaxation, look at the bigger picture, abstract part. You want a balance. Because as is often said, if you are only in your left brain, there's nothing right about it. And if you're only in your right, so we want a balance. We want both the left and the right to be working together. We want the head and the heart to be working together. And that is what these type of practices do. Now I wish to introduce another use of sound as an anxiety stress buster. And this is a practice where we realize that anxiety and stress is primarily stored in three places. One is your abdomen, okay? So the abdominal region is one of the places where you have the stress, right down here, okay? This is one of the stress areas. The second is the chest. And the third is the upper chest and neck region. This abdominal area, the stomach, the abdominal area, is the seat of performance anxiety. Will I be able to perform well? How will be my performance? Oh, I have an exam. I have to give a class. All of that type of performance, what it does is you start to have butterflies in your stomach. And for many people, there's a sinking feeling in the stomach. And many people, just when they need to get on stage, start running to the washroom, the restroom. Why? Performance anxiety. The second type of anxiety is in the middle chest region, is the relationship anxiety. Will they like me? What if they don't like me? Now, she likes me not, he likes me not. All these relationships that give us a tight chest. And then the third is up here. The neck and this upper chest region is the status anxiety. And this status anxiety is because of who we think we are. Don't you know who I am? I am the big professor. Don't you know who I am? I'm the director. I'm the president. I'm the big boss. I am blah, 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 the big cheese. And what happens is, this is the part where we get anxious about our status in society, our status in an organization. And this is where all the offense is taken. Remember, offense is not given. It is more often taken than given. And that is why people take offense. It's up here. So the three levels of anxiety: performance anxiety, relationship anxiety, and status anxiety, this is very much the ego anxiety. To work with these anxieties and release them, because anxiety, if it is suppressed, it is like you're putting gunpowder and just doing this, and one day there's an explosion, and suddenly this peaceful, lovely person blows up. And you don't know what has happened. Well, all that anxiety has been suppressed and repressed all the time. So in yoga, we say you need to let go within normal limits. You need to let go. And how do you let go? With the breath, with the sound. So we use the sound for the abdominal area. This area, we use a sound here. And the sound is ha. This is the solar plexus, the solar sound, ha, as in hatha yoga. Okay, the ha is the solar energy. So this is our solar cell, ha. So what we do is ha, 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 ha. And when you make this sound, ha, 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 what you are doing is you are letting go of the performance anxiety. Because this is the area that connects us with the universe. It's our psychic umbilical cord. Just as we had the physical umbilical cord that connected us as a baby with the mother in the womb, this is the psychic umbilical cord, this solar plexus, the solar center. So when we go ha, 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 what we are doing is we are connecting with that. And the moment you connect like that, that performance anxiety goes down. You are not stressed about your performance at all. You can go out and give your best because there's no anxiety, there's no stress. It is all a positive performance. Okay. Now, this is why laughter is so good, because when we laugh, ha, 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 we are connecting with ourselves. And that is why we often do the ha sound, the hakara, where we go ha, 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 ha. And what you do is that you are connecting with that beautiful sense of who you are as a solar being in the solar system. So here is the ha. Now the second sound is in the chest region. We use the sound ho, 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 ho. And you know someone around Christmas who comes around ho, 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 ho. And that is Santa Claus, okay? Who's the big giver. Because here, when you start to give and you share, it is an opening of the heart center, and there's no more relationship anxiety because you become a giver rather than a grabber. Most of us, when we are born into this world, are born with a tendency to grab. In fact, a newborn baby, if you put your finger in the palm, it does this, it grabs. A grasping reflex, we call it in medicine. And we say, yeah, that baby will survive on this planet because it will keep grabbing. Grab, me, 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 me. And we are grabbing and tightening ourselves. When you start to give, you expand. And the more you expand, the more free you are, the more relaxed you are. And when your relationship is based on giving, there's no anxiety. But if your relationship is based on getting, there's going to be a lot of anxiety. So here the sound is ho, 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 ho. Then comes up here the sound. He, 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 he. So we had ha, 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 ho, 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 he, 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 he. And by doing this, what you have done is all that suppressed, repressed anxiety and stress, you just bring it up so that you can throw it out. Because as long as it is there within you, it is blocking up your system. It is like you have clogged up pipes. Water cannot flow. Nothing can flow in a clogged pipe, okay? And our systems are clogged up. Our psychic systems are clogged up. And by the sound, by the use of the sound, we are letting go. We are creating a sense of releasing the pressure. Just as the pressure cooker has the whistle to let go of the pressure, we are using a pressure cooker release, pressure release. The next part of this practice is where we address the back of the head. This back of the head region is related to the brain stem. And the brainstem is related to our survival instinct, which is the seat of fear, and I have to survive at any cost. So the brainstem and me, always me. I have to survive. My ideas should survive. My institutions should survive. My concept should survive. We are always, the survival mode is where there's a lot of adrenaline being pumped. So this part is always trying to survive. It doesn't care whether you have a life, it just wants to keep you alive. Now the thing in yoga is, we want to be kept alive, but then we want to have a life. My father used to always say, after his back accident and his recovery, he used to say, modern medicine kept me alive. Modern medicine kept me alive. Yoga gave me back my life. And I think that is the key here. So we want to address this part and say, I have become aware of you. I know you are trying to play with me on the survival instinct, but watch out, I am looking at you. My eyes are on you. So we go, me, 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 me. And when we do this, I tell people you should look as mean as possible. Me, 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 me. Because what you are doing is that you are realizing all these things that are coming out of this desire to survive at any cost. And then we address this prefrontal cortex. This is the part that makes us a human being. This is the power of choice. This is the power of discernment. This is the power of metacognition. And we can think of other people. The refers to the higher intellect, but also the illuminative principle of the higher consciousness, and also the other person, the old English, the, as the other person, the. This is all me, me. This is the. Okay? We have changed from that primitive, only I need to survive, to from I to we. And when we switch from I to we, even illness becomes wellness. You replace I with WE, illness becomes wellness. Me being replaced by thee. Okay? So we have addressed the subconscious, unconscious anxiety. We have brought it out to the level that we can deal with it. We are addressing the survival instinct. We are sort of motivating and energizing this higher consciousness. And then we say, all of this I want to let go. And we throw it out, go, 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 go. And we throw it all out, because all of it, we don't want to hold on to it. You don't want to hold on to junk. You don't want to hold on to negativity. You want to let go so that you are truly free. And then you can be yourself. So let's do a few rounds of this. Join me for this wonderful practice. Okay? Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. He. 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 Me. Me. Dee. Dee. Go. Go. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ho 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 ho. Ho 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 ho. Ho 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 ho. He. He. Me. Me. Dee. Dee. Go. And when you let go of that, you feel so light, so much lighter than you have ever felt, because you are not carrying the burden on your shoulders. You are not at last holding the burden of the whole planet on your shoulders. You are now free to be yourself. There's nothing better than being ourselves. And as long as we have the anxieties, as long as we are caught in these primitive survival urges, remember, they are survival urges that are subhuman. Because at the level of the subhuman, primitive level, survival is the greatest virtue. But then as a human being, we realize there are higher virtues than just surviving. And that is why the change in consciousness, that you are letting go of the past so that in the present you can create the future. As long as you're holding on to the past, you cannot go anyplace. Letting go, go, and letting go of the past so that in the present we can create the future. The last practice I wanted to work with you is a practice where we are going to work on the spinal axis, and we are going to perform a pranayama which is called a chakra pranayama. And this is creating a beautiful, healthy sense of mindfulness in the lower 6 centers, the psychic energy centers, the base of the spine, the pelvic region, the solar plexus region, the heart center, the throat center, the brow center. These 6, what we are going to do is, as we breathe in, we are going to be breathing in. So a 6 count is breathing in, and a 3 count we hold here at the brow center. Then 6 counts we go down to the base of the spine, and 3 counts we hold there. It's like an elevator going up a 6th floor building, okay? And so 6 counts in, hold 3, 6 out, hold 3. This is called Savitri Pranayama, which is a beautiful practice for rejuvenation. Because the energy of Savitri is the energy of the sun, the early morning sun, which is healing energy. The early morning sun has great healing properties. And that is what is being evoked when we do this pranayama. 6 counts in, so you come up the 6 centers to the brow center. Here you're holding for 3 counts. Then you're breathing out, going to the base, holding out for 3. Now, after doing 6 or 7 rounds of this, we'll take in an inhalation, go just above the top of the head, and we release the breath above the top of the head. And we'll enjoy a beautiful sense of merging into something higher than us, the higher energy centers, in a very beautiful contemplative experience, where these energy vortices, these vortices that are giving us life and sustaining life. This is why we are vertebrates. All vertebrates have these centers. And we want to expand our consciousness so these energy centers can work at the best optimal level, so that every part of us, every cell in us should be working to the best of its ability, making us the best we that we can be at this present moment. So sitting quietly with your spine erect, your lower, middle, and upper back aligned, the neck, the head aligned, shoulders relaxed, your hands in any relaxed position, or if you want to place it in a gesture called the Chin Mudra or the Jnana Mudra, the index and thumb touching, other fingers together, like that on your lap. Breathing out, focusing at the base of the spine. Now as you breathe in, the energy is coming up the spine, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the brow center, Hold it there. 2, 3. Breathing out, coming down from the brow, the throat, the heart, the abdomen, the pelvis, and the base of the spine, and hold it out. 2, 3. Breathing in from the base of the spine. 2, 3, 4. Coming up to the brow center, holding at the brow center. 2, 3. Breathing out as you come down from the brow center, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the pelvic, and finally the base of the spine. Holding out. 2, 3. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Now this time, breathe in, coming up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go above the head, couple of inches above the head, and release the breath at that point into these higher centers, beautiful higher centers of energy, connecting us to the cosmos. The cosmos, with its infinite energy, becoming something real for us at this point of being. Visualize a beautiful 1,000-petal lotus. That lotus opening up to the universal energy, just as a lotus in the pond opens up to the sun in the morning. Just like a sunflower opening up to the sun, this beautiful 1,000-petal lotus opening up to the divine light of the universe, enabling that universal energy to become part of us. Letting the drop, that is the individuality, become part of the ocean of universality. A beautiful sense of oneness, a cessation of duality, a non-dual state of oneness, a state of ease, bliss, and consciousness. Enjoy that sense of peace and wellness from within. Merging into that beautiful universal energy. From that wonderful sense of oneness, slowly start to bring yourself back into the body, developing a sense of body awareness by moving your fingers and toes, creating a sense of movement in the peripheries, and then rubbing your palms together, generating a very wonderful warm pranic solstice, placing your warm palms over your eyes, letting the warmth from the hands come into the eyes and into the whole nervous system. Letting that warmth come onto your forehead, your head, coming back into the place where you are. This practice of the chakra pranayama leads us into a chakra dharana and chakra dhyana, which is a beautiful energetic practice that harmonizes us with the cosmos. It is a type of experience that enables every cell in our body to vibrate with that universal essence. When we as an individual start vibrating with the universal essence, we will be the best we can be, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. That is the state where health will become our natural state of being. And when we have that state, we can help ourselves and then we can help others. Sharing is caring. And the more strong we are, the more competent we are, the more happy and healthy we are, the more we can give and share with others. And that is the way we fulfill ourselves as a human being. I thank you all for this wonderful opportunity to spend this past 1 hour with you. My warm e-hug to my dear Larry Payne and Samatha International. And this is just such an amazing idea that he has brought to life, where we start to realize that we continue to grow physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and that growth is infinite. In fact, that growth is there as long as we are alive. So wishing you all the best. May you be blessed to be the best you that you can be. And wherever you are, may you be a blessing to everyone with whom you interact. That is my heartfelt wish and blessing for everyone today. Thank you so much. And as said in this part of the world, Nandri or Dhanyavadaha. Thank you so much.